It was nearly 11 p.m. when Neo made it back to the Nebuchadnezzar. The main hatch was closed and locked. The dock technicians had all left, and except for a few small LED lights hanging from cables, the dock was dark. Neo knocked on the metal door of the main hatch. There was no answer. "Damn it," he said. He knocked on the metal door again. A moment later, the metal door slid open. Trinity stood in the main bay. "Neo," she exclaimed. "Morpheus has the whole crew out searching for you. Where'd you go?" "The archives," he said. "Come on," she said. "We have to let Morpheus know you're back." Neo stepped onto the ship. They walked side by side down the main corridor of the ship. "What did you find out?" asked Trinity. "What?" said Neo. She glanced at him. "You said you wanted to find something out," she said. "Well, did you?" He nodded. "Yeah," he said. They stepped through the doorway onto the flight deck together. Morpheus was in his chair and speaking into a microphone. He turned around as they entered the room. "I found him," said Trinity. Morpheus's expression faded from concern to relief. "Neo," he said, "you had me worried." He sighed and turned back to the microphone. "All crew return to the ship now." Neo was staring at Morpheus with a gaze that was both questioning and grave. Trinity glanced at Neo with a puzzled expression. "What's wrong, Neo?" she asked. "Morpheus," said Neo. Morpheus faced them. "Return to your cabins immediately," he said. His expression hardened. "That's an order." "I know about Genesis," said Neo. Morpheus's eyebrows rose slightly, but he was otherwise expressionless. He dropped the microphone on the station terminal. "Trinity," he said, "go to your cabin." She glanced at Neo, and then she turned around and headed for the main corridor. Her boots clanked on the metal grating of the floor as she made her way down the main corridor. "Have a seat," said Morpheus, pointing at one of the empty station chairs. "I'll stand," said Neo. "I suppose you were going to find out sooner or later," said Morpheus so softly that he was almost whispering. "You said that I was a slave," said Neo, stepping closer to Morpheus. "You said that the machines built the Matrix to control us." "I did," said Morpheus. "You lied to me," said Neo. Morpheus nodded slowly. "I told you what you needed to hear," he said. "The machines didn't build the Matrix," said Neo. "We did." "Yes," said Morpheus. "Why didn't you tell me the truth?" asked Neo. Morpheus looked down at his hands in his lap. "If I had told you that, would you still have fought so bravely?" He looked up at Neo. "Would you still be fighting?" "The machines," said Neo, "they're not sentient." Morpheus looked at Neo for several moments before answering. "No," he said. "The machines are not sentient. They act on programming to defend and protect the Matrix." "That's why they didn't attack me yesterday," said Neo. "I was no longer a threat to the Matrix." He looked again at Morpheus. "This war," he said, "it's not the machines who started it. It was us." Morpheus looked down at his station screen. "Yes," he said softly, "it was us." He looked up at Neo. "But it is a war we must win, Neo. While they exist, mankind remains enslaved." Neo turned around and started walking toward the door. "Neo," said Morpheus. Neo stopped. "Are you still with us?" asked Morpheus. Neo said nothing for a while. Then the flight deck's ventilation kicked on and hummed quietly over his head. "Yes," he whispered. Morpheus nodded.